Welcome to Concert Pipeline. That's Jens Schippel.
And that is Steve Jones.
And Jens, today on the program, we have a guest who's been on the program a couple of years ago, actually. It was 2018 when I interviewed her last, and it was in person, where we were not thousands of miles apart like we are for this interview that we have today.
Thousands of miles is a long way.
Yes, she's across the pond, as they say. This is Lucy Spraggan, and she came to me. I did not travel across the pond. I've never traveled across the pond.
She came over just to see you?
Right, in San Francisco. She's like, you know what? That Steve Jones guy is going to be here. Sure. I'll come to San Francisco. I'll play a show, bottom of the hill. And yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll talk. It'll be great.
She probably thought you were Steve Jones from the Sex Pistols.
That's probably what she thought. She was sadly mistaken, I'm sure, as many people
Lucy,
are.
I'm going to tell you this. Thank you so much for making it all the way over here to San Francisco from across the pond. I got a little bit of Guinness left from St. Patrick's Day, and it's time to
some stale Guinness,
finish it off. And you get some stale Guinness. It's still a little foamy. That's good. Cheers to you.
Cheers, Lucy. Yes.
Cheers.
So Lucy Jens has a new album called Choices, and it just came out a couple weeks ago. But I mean, this album is powerful. Excuse me. She's transformed a lot over the past year in a number of different ways, and to be transparent, she was a little bit late to the interview, but I don't blame her because she was out for a run, and it was one of those runs where it started out, as just a couple miles and turned into a handful of miles. And you know what? She's taking care of herself and focusing on herself. We talk a lot about that, as well as the other transformations that have happened. I mean, she's lost 50 pounds through weightlifting, running.
Amazing. That's dedication.
She runs like 40 or 50K a week.
Whoa.
Yeah, exactly. She looks much different than when I interviewed her, and she recently, was divorced. And really, that's, like myself, right? It's when you start kind of focusing on yourself instead
these
of the other person.
These are parallel stories here.
I definitely aligned with her in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And you know what? Even though she was late, she was, like you said, she was out there, being healthy. But you got to remember, she's from England. She's still dealing with the time change, right?
Yeah, that's what was going on. You're right. She has a new video also, because she, in addition to all these changes, she's become sober, and she has a new song called Sober out. And this video, if you watch this video, it's so impactful. Like, it's almost just one take, the whole thing, and you can see the emotions come out during the song, and we talk about that in the interview. It's really, really cool, and really proud of her for kind of making music that's so honest and open, and where she's at, right? And being able to really focus on herself and take care of herself as well.
Wow. That takes an amazing amount of strength, an absolutely amazing amount of strength. And I've got to say, I'm going to be totally honest here, I have some feelings. One, I'm in awe of this woman, and also, this is non-alcoholic Guinness. I'm not going to feel bad.
Good. That's fair.
That I'm drinking non-alcoholic Guinness. Yes, no alcohol.
You don't feel bad, Jens. Okay.
We're being supportive.
You're taking care of yourself in your own way, and that's fine.
Solidarity.
So, it's all good. So I was really glad to get to talk to her again, and catch up after all these years. One other note as well, and this will go back to episode 300 that we did just a couple episodes back, where, if you remember, I shared a clip of me singing, a lot of bands that we'd interviewed to the tune of "It's the End of the World as We Know It."
Right. Yeah.
She also has a song called "The End of the World," not the REM one, but she kind of you know, a lot of it resonates with where we're at right now.
Mm, mhm.
And so it's interesting to hear kind of that perspective.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks.
Um, are we going to be able to listen to that, or
No, we can't
you
do
got
that.
me, curious.
Okay, I know.
Uh,
You're
uh,
gonna have to listen to that on your own time. I'm sorry. So,
all right,
um,
fine.
but yeah, let's go ahead and let's bring Lucy on in and have a chat with her. What do you think?
Sounds great.
Hey, Lucy, how are you doing?
I'm so sorry. When I am because it's release week, I'm having a mentally stressful week. So I went for a run and I intended to do 3K, which would have taken me like 15 minutes, and I accidentally did a 10K. And so I just got back
Um,
and it's totally my fault. I'm so sorry.
you're all good. You're all good. We made it happen. So, and yeah, that, you know, you just get running sometimes, you get in the zone and you're good to go, you know, and you're just
Sometimes
like can't stop, right? So,
that's
I mean,
exactly it. But I'm by my back wall, which is the only place where I get signal. So that's great.
it's beautiful, right? So you're outdoors, and you know, I mean, if you want to, like, I can take this outdoors on my porch. We could do kind of an outdoor porch thing. Let's do that,
That would
okay?
be
I'll
amazing.
I'll go with
Yes.
you. Make you feel more comfortable there, okay? So here we go.
There
I'm
we
in
go.
Napa. Oh, and it went down. Hold on. I'm in Napa, California myself.
Oh my God,
And
slightly
so
better weather than us then.
probably it's not bad right now, actually. So yeah, no complaints. Here we go. Okay, I got that. We both got the trees going on now, so I just need to
Love
make
it.
sure
It's
it's.
very outdoorsy.
Yeah, how was the run?
Amazing. Sometimes I can, like you see, I can get quite carried away.
Yeah. So actually, you know, I kind of wanted to talk to you about this because I kind of sense that we have the same sort of thing in common. And you went through, I mean, 2020 was impactful for a lot of people, but yours was, I mean, exponentially so. But I kind of went through some of the same stuff that you did. You know, I went through a divorce, and then I just, like Forrest Gump, I just started running, right? You know, like, and I lost 30 pounds or so,
No
you
way.
know, in a short period of time, you know, kind of same thing, right? You know, it kind of helped release this stuff and kind of get you out of your head, you know,
Yeah,
in a way you needed to do, and kind of make these life changes that were needed beforehand, right? But you kind of
absolutely.
don't.
It's like sometimes, so, sometimes you get rid of everything you thought was everything you ever needed, and it turns out in some ways that was exactly what was holding you back.
Yeah, yeah,
And
and
it's, yeah.
you invest a lot into this other person, you know, and not as much into yourself, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the nature of like our the nature of a lot of existence for all of us is just trying to make other people happy, and
Yeah,
sometimes we put that in front of making ourselves happy, and that's a trap that a lot of people fall into.
yeah. So you, I mean, I imagine you feel you're in a much better kind of place, you know, right now for yourself, right? You've been able to see
Oh,
these changes.
I've never been more like authentically myself. I'm 19 months sober, so like I see things a lot more, like things are just so much clearer now. And I've been, you know, this time where I've not been able to tour, I've just invested it in working on myself, and I've never invested a hot minute in myself. I I thought by pouring every single last drop of energy I had into my career, that was like the best thing for me, you know, trying to advance, always trying to advance. And now I've realized that like I just have to say to people, I'm not doing that now. Like it's now my moment. It's now my time to like, you know, run or do something for me.
Yeah, and I mean, and a lot of this comes out in your music. I mean, you obviously you talk about being sober, you talk about run. I mean, those are songs that you've you know, created that are kind of a piece of who you are now, right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, let's break into those kind of individually, like your sobriety, right? Like, how did it come about that you realized, you know, hey, you have something here that you needed to fix?
I think, well, I mean, I am undeniably the reason my relationship broke down, and I now like can't imagine my life any different to how it is now. But the way that I dealt with that, the way that I dealt with the problems, not just my relationship, any problems I would just have a drink, just take the edge off, or I'll just go to the bar. Like, not, yeah, the press here, the tabloid press are obsessed with asking me if I'm an alcoholic, and I'm like, do you know what? If you drink, and I mean, whatever you want to call me an alcoholic. That's absolutely fine, because what I am is a sober person who doesn't drink anymore. But they're looking for somebody that wakes up in the morning and drinks Jack Daniels. And it's like, that's not how it is. The people with the problems are people like me. Like, I had a real problem with alcohol in the way that it covered up all of my problems. I never fixed a single problem in my life until I gave up drinking.
Yeah. Had to start there, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And so then with Run, right? One of the lyrics in Run is, I want to run to the end of the world. And you kind of do, right? Because I understand you do like 40 to 50K a week, which is pretty impressive,
I think the thing about running is that, like, well, people run races, sure, but running is very much you and your brain, and it's all mental. Some days I can't even run 3K. I like get to 2.5K and I'm like, oh, I can't do this, then I stop. And then other days I'll run 20-25K, no problem.
Yeah. And you were saying, so your 3K, and now we're just nerding out on times and everything, but your 3K time was like 15 minutes. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
That's like 5-minute miles. Like, that's
5-minute kilometers.
Okay, so I'm in being in the United States, I have to translate it a little bit. So
it's not so fast.
Okay.
It's what is it in miles? It's not slow, it's not fast. I mean, I'm a real pacer. So like my aim is ultras. So I can't think of what it is in the mile.
Okay.
No,
how many kilometers are in a mile? I'm getting to the bottom of this.
1.8, I think.
Okay, 1.6 kilometers to a mile, so equals 1 mile. So okay, I got you. So yeah, so at my fastest, I did like a 6-minute mile, which would have been, about like, I mean, so that was like my first 5K that I did, and it was, I mean, like, I was listening to Flogging Molly. I was seeing them that night, and and it was just too fast. It was supposed to be a 12K, and I cut it at 5K, but I ended up placing in my age group. But I was pissed at myself for cutting it short, I'll tell you. And
I think that's the key to running, is have a pace for distances that you do. Because like, if I tried to run 15K at the speed that I do a 5K, I'd be dead in the third kilometer.
So that's my problem, Lucy, right? So I stopped real running a couple of years ago, and now I'm Peloton every day. But when I was running, the most I did was a half marathon, and I did that in like an hour and a half, hour 31, something about that. And I never worked up to doing a full marathon because I'm, pretty fast, and I can't slow down in my brain and pace myself to that point where 26 miles would be
the best. The best thing you could do is work out the pace you want to run at, which is something I do. Find a load of songs that are in the same BPM as your footfall, and have 4 hours worth of that BPM, and run with the music. That paces you.
Yeah, I got to get back into it, but since COVID hit, and I got a Peloton, and now I'm just obsessed with that and do that all the time, so it's good. We're taking care of ourselves. That's what's important.
We are.
Yeah. So I interviewed you a couple years back when you were in the Bay Area. You played at Bottom of the Hill in San Francisco. I'm not sure if you remember that tour or not, but I
was pretty drunk that whole tour.
It was good times, right? Here,
yeah, it was. I loved that show.
I have a picture here.
Boy, you look so different. I do remember that.
Yeah, well, you look a little different yourself as well. Obviously, we both have gone through a couple of changes over the past couple of years, but uh but it was a good show. And so tell me, I mean, was that, have you been to the States since that tour?
Yeah, so I came back out obviously not last summer, but the summer before. I played a couple of shows. Yeah, I did a tour. I guess that would have been, yeah, year before last. Um, and I played Melissa Etheridge's Cruise out there, and that was great. But I tell you, you're not going to be able to get rid of me once all the travel ban is lifted. I'm coming straight to America.
Awesome. What places in America were your favorite to play?
California is a great place to play. I also love playing in the South because there's Southern hospitality. Like, everywhere you go, you're so welcome. But also saying that, like, some of the kind of rogue states, like Ohio, is one of my favorite states. And so, do you know what? I'm just a states baby. Like, I love that place. I'd love to, if I had the same career in America as I have in England, I would live in America. I'd live
Yeah.
somewhere weird like North Florida or something.
Yeah, you find it right at home there, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's great. And so the new album Choices, tell me kind of, so when did you start making that album?
Well, the funny thing is about this album is that I didn't start writing it. Like, I just, like, I didn't think, right, I'm gonna write my sixth album now. It wasn't even time to, because I release a record every couple of years, and this album was ready for release in October. So that was like way premature. I just was writing songs, but so I guess over the last 2 years, maybe not even, but I didn't mean to write this album. It just happened.
Yeah. And you were like Skyping with friends writing it, right? Like tell me
Yeah.
that process. What did that look like for you?
So my internet connection in my house is awful, hence us being at the back fence right now. This is the only place I can get 4G. For example, I'm going to show you what I can see as well, because
Okay.
like this.
Yeah. You see, I mean, so you don't have the internet, but you have, what a view, right? I mean, you have a lot of land around you and everything. Like,
it's amazing, but the internet connection sucks. So we had very, very quick, like, I would get an idea. I would like try and call the guys on the phone, and I only wrote with like my friends on this album. I didn't go anywhere that I didn't know. So I think that's the reason it's so personal, is because I was able to sit there and really just like bare my soul.
Yeah. And so was it natural for you to write with friends? Was that a different process for you than you've done in the past?
To be honest, they're friends through music. So like the Dunwells, who I wrote Flowers and Run with, and a couple of others, Roots. I took those guys on tour with me as a support act because I just think they're incredible. So like I became friends with those guys through music. Joe Hamill, who played a lot of the guitar on the album, I met him through writing as well, but Joe now plays with me in my band, so we're all really close friends.
Yeah, excellent. And so did you have a theme that you wanted to kind of take when you went into this album? I mean, the album is great. It's really solid, and it's emotional and personal, and we'll get into all that. But
there wasn't really a theme. Like the songs kind of just appeared as they were, and I was like, huh. Like when I was naming the album, I thought, well, what does this whole album represent? And to me, it was quite clear that it represented choices. Every single song outlines either making of or the repercussions of a choice.
Yeah. So back to Sober for a second. Like the video for that song, like is almost all one take. I mean, and it's just, I mean, you see the progression as you're kind of going on, and I mean, you can tell you're kind of really in that space where you're connecting with what's behind the song. Like, how did you bring that into the video?
I just knew that I wanted to put a message across, and like I wanted it to say how the song says exactly how I feel, and I feel any other kind of video would have been contrived. And it's very real, you know, like there were people, the people behind the camera were crying. Like, I think a lot of people feel that way about themselves. We're all massively flawed. Well, not all of us actually, but the ones that are, we know we are, and when we confront that, it's pretty emotional.
Yeah. And then your animal video, I think brought a lot of, you know, your new transformations into into the video as well. Like, what was your intent when you went into that video? What did you know, did it act out like how you envisioned it?
Yeah, well, like when I first heard the song produced, I thought, this sounds like ring walk music. This sounds like that da 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 da. It sounds like somebody walking out in the boxing ring. So I also wanted, I think women's boxing is amazing, and I think they're badasses, and there's a lot of attention being drawn to female boxers in this country at the moment and across the globe. So it's a bit of a nod to that, but also I wanted something, excuse the pun, but punchy. I wanted something that's interesting to watch, and to also show that, like, I'm a multi-faceted person, you know.
Yeah. So one thing that also kind of stood out to me, so you discovered you were lactose intolerant last year. How do you find that out so late, you know, at this point?
Well, I think it developed, like, I've always had issues with my, like, stomach. But when I drank, I just didn't. I was constantly in bits of pain, and some days I had these days where this pain would just take over. And so when I removed the alcohol, I became a lot more in tune with my body. And so I started to figure out what it was. And then right at the beginning of lockdown, I'm like, pretty sure I'm lactose intolerant. Like, I did all the cutting everything out. And then one day I went to the shop and I bought my vegan protein shake, and I'm walking through this field here, and I finished it, and I looked at it, and it's the same wrapping, but it wasn't the bloody vegan one. I drank the whole milk one, and then lo and behold, for 3 days after that, I literally couldn't walk. I couldn't get up off the bathroom floor. It's like an extreme pain that I get, and so yeah, I'm definitely lactose intolerant.
Found out the hard way, right?
Yeah, I don't have dairy anymore.
Yeah, and you've incorporated a lot of protein into your diet. What does that look like overall for you?
I actually, people think that I'm some kind of protein monster, but I eat 50% carbs, probably around 25% fat and 25% protein. So the ideal protein for an adult is like 1 or 2 grams of protein per kilogram of the body. So it's not loads. I mean, you do have to focus. If a lot of people don't get enough protein. It's a fact. It's hard.
Yeah. Can you tell me about starting your own fitness company? What that kind of went through for you? What that looks like?
Well, I made like quite a few mistakes, sort of like not eating enough at the beginning, working out too much, not knowing when to stop. You know, I went on stupid diets like years ago, do these shake diets. I bought all the snake oil and all the tablets and all the bullshit. And I just thought, well, this is like, it's just not how it works. So I wanted to tell people how it works. And the things that you have to change aren't necessarily like, you know, there's no pill, there's no tea, there's enjoying yourself, moving your body. It's not like, I think a lot of people think dieting and changing your body composition is about pain and like like working through all the hard stuff, but it's not. It's about finding what you like doing and do it. Some people like running, some people like dancing, some people like walking, and that's what Fully Rewired is about. It's like, don't kill yourself trying to do this, guys. Like, just take it slow. Nothing happens overnight, and if it does, it's a fluke.
Yeah. And have you had a lot of good response to that?
Yeah, it's been really well received because it's not expensive. So it's £10 for the whole program. So that's like what, $13 for the whole program.
Yeah, pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it has a fitness DVD with it too, or?
So it has downloads. You could I've done these workouts so you can compete with me in real time, and it's just fun. It's just fun bits and pieces people can watch. I did an MP3, so you run with me in your ears, and I tell you, keep going, keep you breathing. It's cool.
Yeah, tell me a little more about that. So as I'm running, so like, is it a constant like dialogue? Do you
Yes.
plan like you're like, okay, I'm along with this person for their run?
Yeah,
What?
it's for beginners. So lots of people say I can't run at all. So I'm in your ears saying, if you feel like you need to stop, don't stop, slow down. And it's doing intervals. So I say, okay, now we're gonna run for the next 30 seconds, and then we're gonna jog for the next 30 seconds. So I kind of talk you through. And the other thing is not about distance, it's about finding your own pace, which, as you know, really important.
Yeah, you find that out. I want to ask you about children in need and kind of how that came about, anti-bullying campaign, and kind of how did your tie-in with that come? And I mean, was there something personal there that kind of led to you wanting to work with that group?
Well, I'm quite vocal about people that comment on me, on what I look like. Really rarely on what I sound like, which is funny. I mean, I don't mind people ripping apart music because that's what it's there for, but there's this constant narrative on my image, my personality, and so I know there's other people facing that in a different way, but I wanted to get involved with that, show my support. It happens to a lot of people you don't expect.
Yeah. So I listened to your cover of 500 Miles, and I mean, it's such a unique take on that song. We even interviewed the Proclaimers a couple times back in the day, and I mean, they're just cool guys,
They are. They're cool.
Yeah. And so what made you choose that song? I know you were looking for a song to cover, and it tied into Spotify and that sort of thing.
I just think it's like one of the best love songs ever written. If you listen to the words, there is some meaning behind that song, and when I listened to it, I just thought, this is beautiful. I think the one of the biggest ways of paying respect to an artist is loving their music and doing your own version of their song, I suppose.
Yeah. And so when you go in to cover a song, like, how do you kind of find that balance between, okay, paying respect to the artist, but making it your own as well?
I think, I guess you have to just, well, actually, do you know what? Cook and Vinyl know those guys. So they actually sent the song to them and asked them if they liked it. And they said yes. So that's how I know it worked.
You got their approval. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But your take on it, like you kind of slow it down a bit, right? Like make it a little more personal. You need to. Oh, okay. Just saying hey to neighbor. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I mean, your take on it, you really paid respect to it. I really like it. So it has my stamp of approval for what that's worth.
Very kind.
Okay. And so kind of, as we kind of move forward to where we're at now, a song on, Today Was a Good Day, The End of the World, has a lot of connection to where we're at now, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
So, I mean, it was a precursor to it a little bit, but like, how do you, tell me where you were at when you wrote that song?
Well, that song was all hypothetical. It was a story, really. It was a lifetime away from what I do now at the end of the world. And like saying that, I want to run to the end of the world. And then, that mention of that end of the world, they're two very different end of the world. One is very finite and the other is infinite. So the contrast between those, I guess, answers the question. I think at the point I wrote that album, for me, everything felt kind of very end of the worldy, despite it not being the end of the world. And now there's been a huge global pandemic, but I feel more like there is a future for me than ever.
Yeah, it's like looking at the earth as, flat versus round, right?
Yeah, but I'm not a flat earther, I promise.
No, good. We're safe there. Okay. And so, so outside of running, like, I mean, are you continuing to write music? Like, are you kind of getting yourself in a spot where you're like, that's a part of your routine?
I'm always writing music. It's just never. I've never sat down to write music. It just shows itself, and it just happens. It's just there. And actually, when I'm working out, I get a lot of inspiration. Like, I've never listened to as much music as I do now. Because, like, for example, this run, I just listened to an hour of like Brazil carnival music.
Yeah.
So, you know, the whistles and the steel drums and the samba, and I've never listened to more genres. And that's what's exciting, because if you do that, it offers itself to your own music 100%.
Yeah. Do you get your music that you listen to from like recommendations, or like does Spotify kind of help you decide?
Yeah, I do Spotify radio. I guess it's like Pandora, and it will throw stuff at me, and then I'll put it into my like playlists.
Yeah. And so what else? I mean, do you listen to other stuff, different stuff at home versus when you're running? Like, you get yourself in a different mindset?
No, I listen, honestly. If you saw what I listened to, my most listened to artist last year was Ariana Grande.
Yeah.
But I listen to a lot of Bhangra music and Bollywood workout music, which is one of the inspirations behind Animal.
Yeah. Nice. And so as we look forward to the future, I know you want to get back out to the US. What are things looking like in England right now?
Well, I got my first vaccination on Saturday, so
Me too.
Yes. Which one did you get?
Moderna.
Okay, I got the Oxford one. It made me pretty sick in the night, but you know, if we all get vaccinated, we'll be back to normal life as soon as we possibly can. So that's all very exciting.
Yeah. And so touring is kind of high on your list, I'm imagining, of getting out there and being in front of people.
High on my list, but what is higher is keeping people safe. So, like, if there is still any transmission whatsoever, I'm not going to be doing any shows because I'm not a dumbass. Like,
yeah,
I know there'll be a lot of people who are, because they'd rather make money than, you know, make sure the world is healthy. But I won't be putting on any shows until there's no cases, you know.
Yeah, but you did a virtual thing, I think, like last week, right?
Yeah, we've been doing the virtual live streams. They go down well. Yeah, that's great. But, you know, there's nothing beats a live show, as you know.
It's not. Oh, I know. I miss the concerts, and I'm ready to get back to them, as you know, as I'm sure you are. So,
yes.
Well, yeah. Well, Lucy, I really like the new album. Thank you, for taking the time today. And
hey, thank you. Sorry I was so late. I'm glad you're a runner, so that you understood what happened.
I get it. Luckily you got someone who gets where you're at, and like can get in that zone and just be running, and and lose track of time, and be like, okay, you're taking care of yourself, and that's what's important, right? So
yeah, man. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time I'm in California. Yeah,
we'll make it happen. You have a good one.
Cheers,
Okay,
dude. Thank you.
Later.
Bye.
Later. That was the interview with Lucy Spraggan here on Concert Pipeline. And Jens, that takes us to the final segment on the program. What is it?
Well, Steve, it's time to share knowledge of music news.
That is right. Yes, we're going to share some knowledge today, Jens, and we each have a couple of stories to talk about what's going on in the music world. I'm going to start with one about someone who is not generally known as a musician, and that is
what would so if this person isn't generally known as a musician, what would people generally know this person as? What category?
a prick.
A prick. So this person is primarily a prick who happens to be a musician.
He's not a musician, is the point.
He's not a musician. Oh, yeah.
No, and that is Elon Musk.
Oh my God. How did he get on music news?
Well, I'm glad you asked. He's planning to sell a song about NTFs as an NTF, or excuse me, NFT. Messed up the anagram. But he's just outmusked himself. It is the byline on this story. So he's taken advantage of the current NFT non-fungible token craze by selling a song about that very thing. NFTs so are essentially digital gold bars with a changing value of their own. Once purchased, owners are essentially able to use them as a digital currency to buy and trade other commodities. So we posted on Twitter and shared a brief snippet of a pounding dance track alongside visuals showing a rotating golden trophy with the words "Vanity Trophy" seen revolving around a golden globe and a base bearing the phrase "Computers never sleep." It also featured the acronym HODL, which stands for Hold On for Dear Life, a common phrase in the cryptocurrency community. And he says, "I'm selling this song about NFTs as an NFT." He captioned the clip. The full extent of his involvement in the song is yet to be revealed, but I guess he's been a vocal supporter of Bitcoin, with Tesla investing $1.5 billion in the cryptocurrency last month, as well as revealing plans to accept Bitcoin as payment for vehicles in the future. So yeah, so this is gonna, I think, lead into your next story pretty well, but it actually references your next story, and this, and
it does. All right.
Point. But
all right, so I got some thoughts on this.
Go for it.
One, if somebody could just explain to me what all of that is, that'd be great. I've researched this stuff before. I've read articles. I've watched YouTube people explain this to me, and it still makes no freaking sense.
I don't get it. You and I are out of the loop. There's a lot of money to be made, I think, here, but we're missing out on it. There's
totally missing out on it.
There's a Bitcoin ATM in the convenience store right across from me, and I'm very confused by it because I think it's a digital format. So how does it just like, how do you get Bitcoin from it? Do you give it your soul? I don't know what's going on there at all.
I have no idea. I'm just assuming that you can access your Bitcoin account, and then you can sell Bitcoin. You can sell maybe some, not a Bitcoin because it's so high in value right now, but a very tiny percentage of Bitcoin, and just get cash out of the machine. I mean, I have no idea.
What do you do with it at a convenience store? Like like a gas station. What do you do with that? Like, I'm so
You're
lost.
Like, okay, I want to buy some beer and I want to buy it with cash, or I want to buy it with Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. So you just log into your account, and then you pay, with your Bitcoin balance or something. I mean, I don't know.
No idea. We're so lost on this.
I'm totally lost on this. But what the other thing I want to know is, Elon didn't write this by himself, right? I mean, he must have collaborated with some other people, and he's, friends with what's his face that we talk about sometimes on the news.
Joe Rogan.
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that's not who I'm thinking of.
Okay.
The rapper.
Oh,
Kim Kardashian's husband.
Kanye West. Yeah.
Kane. Yeah.
And Kane. Yeah.
Kanye, right? Maybe there's some influence there. Who knows?
Yeah, but it's interesting. What do you got, Jens?
So let me see. So you hinted that this might be a segue here to some more news. Let me see what we got. So let's talk about trading cards.
Oh no, the other story.
What?
You have two stories.
I thought there only was one story.
There's two stories. Hit the other one first. It'll really segue right in really nicely if you do the other story first.
Kings of Leon.
Yes, there you go.
I saw these guys in concert. They opened for Dylan once.
Oh, nice.
Long time ago. All right, so Leon have generated 2 million. Dude, 2 million from NFT sales of their new album. Oh my God. Okay, I mean, more confused now. So it's crazy. Yeah. So over 500,000 has been donated by the band to Live Nation's Crew Nation Fund to support live music crews during the pandemic. Holy freaking shit. So these come from their latest. the sales of their latest album, When You See Yourself. So this new album that was released, wow, really recently, March 5th, is one of the first major records to also be released as a collection of digital NFTs.
Okay, so
I have
it
no
really
idea what I'm talking about.
yeah,
So,
these are all words, and you're like, what does it all mean? I have no idea. But they made a lot of money, and NFTs have something to do with it, right? So
So you listen to an NFT and it makes music.
I have no idea.
It
The
makes
album is
sound.
available on Apple Music, so so it's not exclusive to the NFT world or anything like that. I don't know, man. I'm lost. But Kings of Leon are making money through NFTs and selling it in that platform, which I think hasn't been done before. This is what I'm getting.
Okay, so this is how my ignorant brain tries to make meaning of this. You ready for this?
Yeah.
I'm just going to read the sentence again. The band's new album is one of the first major records to also be released as a collection of digital NFTs, and that which is a form of cryptocurrency, right?
So the album is money. I don't understand yet.
You're right.
Like,
So my brain is like, okay, I go to the cash machine, I get out, $100. It dispenses it in 20s, and on every single bill are song lyrics.
I wanted to play
So
music.
I can
is the thing.
I just bought this song and I have to read it off of money. Like, oh, I gotta sing it myself.
I wanted to play music into my world as I'm taking it out of the ATM. Like I don't know. It's crazy. I don't get it. But that's beyond us, and we're sounding very ignorant right now. So I'm sure.
I feel like whatever generation came up with this stuff is like beyond brilliant.
Yeah, could be. I'm sure it's.
Or they're talking
it's
out of
definitely.
their ass.
If we got in early, we'd be rich right now for sure, right? So
yeah. Anyway, so there are articles out there on the web like WTF is an NFT. And how do you listen to it? Explained. So
there's more information. We're not going to dig into that here. You have to look that up on your own, and we'll just be completely naive about the whole thing. So that's what you're getting from Concert Pipeline. Jens, exactly. I have an uplifting story. You know how we want concerts to come back, how we're so excited for concerts to reemerge. We're like, we can feel it, we can taste that it's going to happen in the future, and are ready to get back there, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, Wonderbus brings live music back to the streets of San Diego. So what does it all mean, Jens?
Well, I don't know what it means. What's a Wonderbus?
The city's newest entertainment venue is a double-decker bus, which serves as a mobile and socially distant concert format. Are
we talking like one of those double-decker like British type buses?
Yeah, and one of those ones that travels around San Francisco or what have you.
Yeah,
right.
All right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but starting on March 17th, Wonderbus hope to change, what's going on with COVID-19 and decimating the live music scene. So it's a concert on wheels initiative that aims to bring live music to the city. And the top level is a fully functioning stage, which is high enough for audiences to watch free performances from the street. It also has a sound system, drum kit, drum riser, and in-ear monitors for performers, while downstairs houses a VIP section with a cocktail bar and flat screen TVs. So you're like, how do I, check out this Wonderbus? Well, when traffic is at a safe speed or at a complete stop, the bands will play music on the top of the double-decker bus for local passerby along PCH. Pacific Coast Highway.
Wait, hold up. This thing moves while they're playing?
Well, they play when it doesn't move is I think what kind of goes on. So at the traffic lights is when they play, and then they have to stop when it's moving, I think. So
that's funny.
but it'll also pull over at designated spots to perform short sets. So all COVID-19 protocol, including wearing masks and social distancing, will be required, or the bus will drive away.
Oh,
yeah.
You see, this is sounding really cool. Like, I want to be a part of this.
the stage can leave at the push of a button, organizer Ernie Hahn said. And so they have a couple bands already lined up for the concerts. He says the bands want to get out, they want to play, they want to get local, they want to see their fans, they want to engage, but they can't. And he didn't see the rise of live streams as a sustainable way for bands to connect with their audiences. So there's a sponsor involved, which helps as well. And they just really want to showcase live local bands and bring music to the people. So Lexington Field, a fiddle rock group from San Diego, is kicking things off. But there are other bands as well. Elevation, which is a U2 tribute band from Los Angeles, they're playing. And there will be other bands, a bunch as well. The New Locals, Valiant Watts, the Aquadolls, that sort of thing. So
I feel like we need to be a part of this. Like we should do a little road trip and
just
do
follow a
this
bus
for a day.
around.
Yeah, we don't even have to get on the bus. We'll just follow it.
That sounds like a good use of our time, driving 10 hours down to San Diego
just
and
to
following
follow
a bus.
I think the experience might be worth it.
I'm excited. I don't know if I'd say I'm that desperate. So, but it's interesting.
It's been
I'm
a
excited.
long time, man. I mean, it's been a year. It's been a long time. Can I talk about trading cards now?
Talk about trading cards. Yes, I would love for you to talk about trading cards.
Steve, have you ever traded any cards? Like at any point during your life? Did you have like a shoebox full of trading cards or
I did, and I do still have some. I mean, I'm trying to remember what I got, like old baseball cards and what have you. I definitely have Michael Jordan trading cards, both of basketball and baseball formats.
Nice.
Yes.
Are any of them worth anything at this point?
I couldn't tell you. Probably not a lot, but but I'm they're sentimental to me, so it's in my kind of one of my sentimental boxes from my childhood. But I have some cards. I collected a couple Marvel cards here in there as well, but nothing too crazy. Yeah. But I had that period that I went through.
I think I did this once or twice in my childhood, and I feel like I should say baseball cards, but I don't actually remember ever looking at a collection of baseball cards. I definitely had Star Wars cards. Back when that was super popular, but yeah, I mean, I remember saving up my allowance or whatever, and then going to the corner store and buying a pack of cards and being super excited if there was a card in there that I hadn't had yet.
Yeah, so we both collected a little bit, huh?
Yeah. So anyway, this article is about this. There are now trading cards for independent music venues.
Okay, so music venues.
Music venues, exactly. So our love for impartial music venues has been extra wanted than ever over the previous 12 months. However, as you may as well share your love to your favorite music membership by selecting up a collectible buying and selling card. Does that make any sense, that sentence? Am I just drunk, or did this person not know how to write?
Could be either way, so carry on.
Fantasy Tour, spelled PH, Fantasy Tour merch, have launched the NIVA, N-I-V-A venue collection buying and selling playing cards. These prime quality collectibles function.
Oh my God.
This is fucked. No, I'm serious. I'm reading this so carefully. This isn't English, dude.
Okay.
And bios of touring bands and venues. The playing cards have been thoughtfully designed and foil stamped for authenticity. And there are 54 playing cards within the sequence in complete, representing 54 music venues, which can be a part of the nationwide impartial venue affiliation. That's what NIVA is, I guess.
There you go.
Here I'm thinking it's a lotion, like.
So yeah. If I were to get these playing cards, Jens, what Bay Area venues would I be fortunate enough to to hopefully be able to get, because I'd want to, I don't want to relive some of those memories from the local places, right? So
We're talking about
um,
places that are still open,
I mean, no one's open right now, so
or any. Well, I mean, places that haven't closed down
yes, it still
permanently.
exists.
They
Yes,
still exist. Oh,
yeah.
well, I mean, there's some of the obvious, places. Fillmore.
Okay, I don't think there's one for the Fillmore, but that was a good guess. Are you looking at the
Why wouldn't
list?
there be one for the Fillmore?
Scroll down in the article, flick up,
Oh,
and
there's a list. Oh shit.
oh my god.
Oh my
Uh,
God. Okay, there's a list. They're all over the country. They
yeah,
are all over the country.
look at the ones
I
that
don't
say
see
CA in parentheses, and
I
kind
don't
of look at what.
see California anywhere. Oh my God, Terrapin Crossroads just down the street from me.
Yes,
How funny.
there's
How
also
funny.
Jens, the Bill Graham
Uh,
Civic Auditorium.
yes. Yes.
Uh,
The Greek Theater in Berkeley.
Yep.
The Nice
Um,
American Music Corridor in San Francisco. Have we been there? That does not sound familiar. The Nice
I
American Music Corridor.
I don't know what that is, but there's Great American Music Hall, I think. There was, oh, maybe that got renamed. Interesting,
Maybe.
because I looked at a different list and it had Great American Music Hall, and I don't see it alphabetically here. So there are some Bay Area venues though, which is cool, and you can support the indie music scene, and I mean, or independent venues anyway, through getting some of these cards. So you can just look them up online and be able to get some of those trading cards.
I think we should do after, you know what, Steve, after we go to San
Yeah.
Diego and follow that double-decker bus around and rock out to some music, every time the light's red, I think we should actually go to all of these places.
All of
one
them. Okay,
after the
road trip.
next,
Road
and
trip.
just start
Okay.
collecting like crazy. Yep.
Okay. I don't think you have to go to the venue to get the cards, but I like where your head's at. So
Stop making it complicated. We have a list here, and we're just going to go to each one.
I will follow you, and I will be asking for trading cards at the venues. I like it.
Sounds good, Nashville, Tennessee. We are coming your way.
Jens, I have one more story for you. You know who it involves?
That's our buddy Dave Grohl.
That is right. So it's been a couple weeks since we've talked about Dave Grohl. We've had some St. Patrick's Day hijinks and episode 300, but I'm bringing you a Dave Grohl story with a bonus as well. So Dave Grohl, Jens, once found mushrooms growing in the Foo Fighters touring van.
Like psychedelic mushrooms, or just
well,
random fungus?
Well, so with their 2020 van tour that they were supposed to have done, they were going to be celebrating their 25th anniversary, and by bringing their first touring van on the road with the rest of their gigantic concert production. Dave Grohl actually talked about this in an interview with Brian Johnson from AC/DC about how they were going to drive the van onto the stage, and then at the end of the show, hop into it and back out of the back out of the venue from there and everything. So it was their van tour, right?
Right.
So but touring with no money isn't all rock and roll romance. There's an ugly side, a dirty side, and it's the reason bands work so hard to get tour buses and hotel accommodations. So Brian Johnson did a special. This was, I guess, aired back in June in the UK, but it finally made it onto YouTube, and I actually watched it last night. It's an over an hour long interview with Brian Johnson from AC/DC and Dave Grohl, done at Dave Grohl, the Foo Fighters studio. So they reminisced about the good old days. And when Johnson remarked that the van still smelled like band, Grohl had a story ready. He said, "This becomes your home. When you're in a club and there's no backstage, you hang out in here. When there's nowhere to sleep, you sleep in here. You do everything in here. It becomes your little cocoon, your home. After a show, you'd walk off stage, you're soaking wet, and you come in here and you change clothes and throw your wet t-shirt in the corner. So I came home from a tour. We unloaded all the gear, and the van was out in front of my house for a couple of weeks. I came out and opened it up, and God, it just smelled like a morgue. It was disgusting. And I looked and saw this t-shirt that I'd thrown in there like 3 or 4 weeks before, the wet t-shirt, and it was on the plywood platform thing. He said he pulled up the t-shirt, and it's just solid as a rock. and he looked down,
Oh,
and there were
God.
mushrooms growing under it. Yeah.
Oh my God. How long
Uh,
does it take for a wet
to-
t-shirt
to
to
grow
just sit there and then have a mushroom grow on it?
Apparently 3 to 4 weeks is the time frame that it takes to occur. And so the second part of the story,
My
which is entertaining, because I watched the first half of the documentary by myself, and then later last night with my girlfriend Tracy, we watched the second half. And then now Tracy, during the interview, Tracy asked me, "What's his name?" And I joked and I said Dave Grohl. I figured she was talking about Brian Johnson. She's not great with names.
Mhm.
And
I thought it was a quiz question. She was asking you.
and
I totally thought it was a quiz question because you fall asleep like all the time
And-
when you watch stuff. So
I
was
do,
like,
but
Dave,
not during
what
this.
are we talking about?
But she was actually talking about Dave Grohl, and she said, I'm not good with names, but I'm like, look, you not knowing his name is blasphemy to the point of like you not knowing my name, because we
You're
talk
right.
about him on every fucking podcast, and she cracked up, and I said, if you think I'm not going to talk about this on the pod tomorrow night, you are sadly mistaken. So
Oh my God. She needs like a real life size scale, like 1-to-1 scale of Dave Grohl, like a statue or something. So she'll know. Like he has
She
to be part of
does.
the family. Yes, there has to be a Dave Grohl presence at your place.
we can
So
make that
she'll
happen.
know exactly who this is.
I mean, she'll recognize him, but she won't know his name, even if there's a statue inside the house, though. So just saying, and she won't know. She's bad with names. She really is, and it was pretty funny though. So I figured
We'll
I'd
put a
bring that up.
T-shirt on him that it says, "My fucking name is Dave Grohl. Don't forget it."
Yes. So that's our show, Jens. I think we had some fun. So we're gonna keep on rolling, and I want to tell you, next week I'm really, really, really excited about what we got. We have a band called January Jones. What am I doing?
I don't know,
know,
but
I
I
was
did know the name of this band before you
Yes,
started screwing it
I
up.
know.
And now I don't remember
That's
it.
how excited I am. January Jane is on the program next week, and also we have a second interview. This is a bonus. I had the opportunity to talk to Matt Pinfield. He's from MTV fame. He had a show called 120 Minutes, and he's interviewed everybody, all the rock stars on the planet, and so I really looked up to him, and he was a Bay Area guy also. He's had a challenging couple of years, which we could talk about next week a little bit, but he's being super positive, and it was just really great to get to talk to him. So so we got that coming up next week. That's our show.
Fantastic. Great.
So for all of us here at Concert Pipeline, that's Jens Schippel.
And that is Steve Jones.
We'll catch you next time.